here from Minnie's Craft Shack. Today I'm going to be doing an ombre tumbler. The colors I've decided on for this ombre is the Disco Bella holographic chunky mix and silver lining. I've gone ahead and prepared my cup or my tumbler, and I've spray painted it white. If you'd like to know how to prepare a tumbler, I do have a video, and I'll have it listed up above here, how to prepare a tumbler for glittering. So I'm just going to pull you on down to the table here, and we'll get started. Now I've gone ahead and mixed my epoxy, part A and B. Remember that with the Alumilite clear cast, it is equal parts that you have to measure. Also, this is FDA compliant, so it is safe for food handling after it's been dried and cured. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead, and the way I do this is I just go ahead and put some epoxy on my hand here, and I rub my hands, and I go ahead and just apply that around the whole cup, just like so. I'm going to go ahead and take off one of my gloves because I'm going to have to pick this up. Now, because this is, the Disco Bella is a chunky glitter, I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit thicker on the bottom here than I would if it was just a fine. I'm using a fine glitter at the top and then chunky on the bottom. So I'm just making sure, first of all, that this is totally covered. Usually I would just do a very thin coat, but like I said, since it is a chunky glitter, I'm going to go ahead and put a little thicker on the bottom here. Not by much. And that just helps that chunky glitter kind of set into it and lay a little bit flatter. All right, so I'll go ahead and take off both gloves. Now the way I do this is I go ahead and I do the top part first. Now this is the silver lining, and I have this in my shop at MCS Glitter Company on Etsy, so you can get these colors. And I'm just gonna go halfway down the cup here. And make sure I get complete coverage. I go a little bit more than halfway down. And that's how that looks. Very pretty color. This is an extra fine mix. And like I said, you can find this on MCS Glitter Company. I'll have the link down below in the description. I'm just going to set this aside because we can reuse that glitter, so I'll put it back in its bag. Next, I'm going to do the Disco Bella holographic chunky mix, And with this, it's got some holographic in it, and it's a very pretty color. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do the bottom first so it gets coverage. Do around that rim. Just like so. And then I'm just gonna kind of go up the cup there. And you can see how well, where it's, you know, I've put the thick coat on, how well those chunky pieces are adhering to it and setting in there. So when you go to epoxy, you know, you don't have a lot of thick pieces sticking out there. And I just kind of go up into that silver a little bit. And I'm just making sure everything's covered. Now I do mix these glitters myself. And there you go. That's Disco Bella holographic chunky mix, and then silver linings. And like I said, you can find those on my in my shop on Etsy at MCS Glitter Company. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of take my finger and just kind of press it down. And that just gets it to lay a little flatter. And I'm just doing the chunky part. Especially around that curve there, you want to make sure that's where those stick up the worst area. They stick up. So, and I'm just pressing lightly. I'm not really even pressing very hard. Just anywhere that I see a piece sticking up. There we go. Now, we're going to let this set for about 6 hours to dry. And then we'll come back and I'll go ahead and show you the next step. So it's a few hours later and I've gone ahead and set up my tumbler on my turner. And before I did that though, I just want to let you guys know that I did go ahead and spray this with a clear matte finish, and that is the Rust-Oleum clear matte. I do that for a couple of reasons. One is so when I'm putting on the epoxy, I don't get the mix of the silver and Disco Bella. And also, I have less fisheyes when I clear coat it with the Rust-Oleum. So that's the reasoning behind that. I have already mixed my Alumilite Clear Cast, and I did 15 mils per A and B. So I've got a total of 30 mils here. And we're just going to go ahead and start. Now while I'm doing this, I'll just kind of show you, you know, how I put it on, and then I'll probably fast forward until it's all covered. But while I'm doing this, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button down in the right side corner and give me a thumbs up. So now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that when I put on the first layer of epoxy, I always manually turn my turner. I do that because I don't feel like when it's turning on its own that I get all the areas. So this just ensures me that I'm covering up the full cup and I'm not going to have any dry spots. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I've turned down my turner, and now I've got a little bit of epoxy left here. I'm just gonna kind of put it on. And then I'm gonna go up the cup from the bottom up all the way to the tip there. Okay, and now I'm going to take it and go down and over that lip to the bottom. Then I'm going to make sure that whole bottom is covered. Just like so. And that's all you do. I'm going to let this turn for about 6 hours and then hang dry it. And then if I need to, if it's still pretty rough, I will go ahead and put another coat on. If it's really smooth, I won't need to put another coat on before I put the decal on. So I'll go ahead and, like I said, let it spin for 6, hang dry it for another 6, and then see if I need to put another coat on. If I do, I'll just do that off of camera. If not, I'll be back with the decal to put on it. But you'll definitely see me putting on the decal. All right, so we'll see you in about 12 hours. Okay, so it's been about 12 hours now. And the next step I'm gonna do, since this covered really well, I'm just gonna make sure it's smooth. So I'm just taking 220 sandpaper and I'm just gonna lightly sand it. Just making sure it's fully smooth all the way around. I'm not putting any pressure on it at all. And I'm just feeling for any bumps. I don't want any bumps on there when I go to lay down that vinyl. Because vinyl, I feel vinyl shows everything. And I just want to lightly sand on the bottom, around the edges there. Getting that smooth surface. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and wash it and then bring it back and we'll put the vinyl on. Okay, so now I'm back, and just a little FYI, after you washed it, you have washed off all the oils from your fingerprints, all that, and your hands. So you want to be careful not to touch it with your bare hands. So I'm just going to set this aside right here, and before I put gloves on, I'm going to go ahead and weed my vinyl. Now I use this Vivid Re-Ease, and it's got a little pin like a pin needle, and it just makes weeding so much easier. Go ahead, and what you're going to do is varnish your vinyl, and that just helps it cling to your transfer paper. This vinyl is just Cricut vinyl. It's the holographic. like I said, weeding with this tool is so much easier than using that weeder from Cricut. I like it a lot better. You're able to really get in. That kind of flew out of there. You're really able to get into the little spaces really easily. I see what happened. When I've used this piece before, and when I put it on there, I put it on the wrong side. That's what happened. So what I do is normally I just take it and line it up with the top part of that backing. And I just squeegee it on there. And doing it this way, it's sure to stick to that transfer paper without any problem. So before I put that on, I'm going to put my gloves on. Remember, I don't want to touch that cup after it's been washed. Don't want my oils to get onto it. If they do, you have the chance of the epoxy not working very well, and it'll cause fish eyes and pits and all that. So now with this, I'm just putting on this monogram, and so I don't need to know exactly where the middle is as far as how the lid's gonna fit on there. So I just take it and just kind of wherever I see, however far away from the top I want, and then I'm just going to bring it down and then take one side and smooth it over, and then take the other side and smooth that over also. Now see, if I wouldn't have sanded, I might have had bumps there. So it's always a good idea to sand it. That way you don't have the bumps. And with this vinyl and the holographic, if you were to have bumps, you'd really be able to see that. So I'm just making sure it's smoothed out, that there's nothing lifting. I don't want anything lifting, because if it's even lifting a little bit, when you go to apply that epoxy, it's going to get under that vinyl and start lifting it up. So I make sure that it's very flat and adhered to the tumbler. All right, and then next we're going to just bring the turner right over. Put the cup on, and we're going to get started in putting another layer of epoxy on here. So now that we have this on our tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and get the epoxy ready, and we'll go ahead and put a coat of epoxy on it. Now what I'll do is let this turn for another 12 hours, and then I'm going to go ahead, and if it needs another coat of epoxy, I'll put on another coat. If not, then I'll go ahead and show you the finished product. But I'm not going to show it, you know, if I do have to put epoxy on it. I'm not going to record that part. So we'll just let this turn for 12 hours and then I'll come back with the finished product. There it is, the last look of the Ombre Tumbler. I went ahead and added another coat of epoxy, so that made it about 3 coats to do this tumbler. Now, if you like what you see and want to see more videos, go ahead and click the subscribe button in the lower right side corner. Also, you can find me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. The links are listed in the description below. I want to hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later. Love ya. Bye.